Few crimes are as infamous as the Amityville Horror, a tragedy that began with a son's unthinkable act against his own family. Tonight, I'm diving into the horrifying true story of Ronald Joseph DeFeo Jr., who, on November 13th, 1974, murdered 6 members of his family in their Amityville, New York, home. This is the mass murders of Ronald DeFeo Jr. that will hook you from the first shot and leave you trembling with a horrifying end. I first learned about Amityville through whispers of its haunted legacy, but the real horror lies not in ghosts, but in the blood-soaked reality of that night. I dug into court records, police reports, and interviews with neighbors and investigators, piecing together a story far darker than any movie. The DeFeo murders shocked the quiet town of Amityville, a Long Island suburb where tree-lined streets and waterfront homes promised safety. But inside 112 Ocean Avenue, a Dutch colonial with a boathouse and a sinister aura, a family's life ended in a frenzy of violence, and the echoes of that night still linger, fueling tales of evil that refuse to die. Let's go back to 1974, when the DeFeo family, Ronald Sr., 43, a car dealership manager, Louise, 42, his warm but weary wife, and their 5 children, Ronald Jr., 23, Dawn, 18, Allison, 13, Mark, 12, and John, 9, lived in the spacious Amityville house. To outsiders, they were a typical middle-class family, devout Catholics with a comfortable life. But beneath the surface, tension simmered. Ronald Sr. was a domineering man, his temper explosive, often clashing with Ronald Jr., known as Butch, a troubled young man with a history of drug use, petty crime, and a volatile streak. Butch resented his father's control, his allowance a leash that kept him tethered to the family. The house, nicknamed High Hopes, was a pressure cooker, its walls absorbing years of arguments and unspoken rage. On the night of November 13th, 1974, the air was cold, the Amityville sky starless. The family went to bed early, unaware it would be their last night. Around 3 a.m., Butch, fueled by a mix of amphetamines, alcohol, and festering resentment, snapped. He grabbed a .35 caliber Marlin rifle from his room, a weapon he'd used for hunting, and crept through the house, his footsteps muffled by the plush carpets. The details, drawn from his confessions and crime scene reports, are chilling. He entered his parents' bedroom first, standing over Ronald Sr. and Louise as they slept. Without hesitation, he fired, the rifle's roar deafening. Bullets tearing through their bodies. Ronald Sr. died instantly. Louise stirred, gasping, before a second shot silenced her forever. Butch moved to the next room, where Allison and Dawn shared a space. Allison, just 13, woke to the gunfire, her eyes wide with terror. Butch shot her in the head, her body collapsing in a spray of blood. Dawn, 18, tried to scream, but a bullet caught her in the neck, her life ending in a gurgle. Across the hall, Mark and John, the youngest, slept in bunk beds, unaware of the slaughter. Butch entered, his face blank, and fired twice. Each boy killed with a single shot to the chest, their small bodies crumpling. The house, once filled with life, was now a tomb, the air thick with gunpowder and death. 6 bodies lay in their beds, face down, as if posed, the silence broken only by Butch's heavy breathing. The horror didn't end with the murders. Butch, methodical in his madness, showered, scrubbing the blood from his skin, and changed into clean clothes. He gathered the rifle, bloody bedding, and his stained shirt, stuffing them into a pillowcase. He drove to a storm drain in nearby Amityville, dumping the evidence, the rifle sinking into the muck. Returning home, he waited until dawn, then ran to a neighbor's house, banging on the door, screaming that his family had been killed by hitmen. Neighbors, bleary-eyed, called the police, who arrived at 6:30 a.m. to a scene that chilled even seasoned officers. The DeFeos lay in their beds, each shot execution style, the precision unnerving. Blood pooled on the floors, the walls splattered, the house a slaughterhouse, frozen in time. Police questioned Butch, his story unraveling fast. He claimed a mob hit, tied to his minor criminal ties, but his calm demeanor and inconsistencies raised red flags. A detective, searching the property, found the Marlins box in Butch's room, its serial number matching a recently fired weapon. Confronted, Butch broke, confessing to the murders, his voice flat, saying, "Once I started, I couldn't stop." The stormed rain yielded the rifle and bloody clothes, sealing his fate. At trial in 1975, he claimed voices in the house urged him to kill, a defense that hinted at the paranormal, but convinced no one. He was convicted of 6 counts of second-degree murder, sentenced to life, his story shifting over years. Drugs, Dawn's involvement, demonic forces, none fully explaining the carnage. The investigation revealed a house steeped in dread. Neighbors reported strange feelings at 112 Ocean Avenue, a heaviness that predated the murders. A priest, blessing the house days later for the next owners, the Lutzes, fled, claiming a voice screamed, "Get out!" The Lutzes' 28-day ordeal, famous for flies, red eyes, and oozing walls, cemented Amityville's legend. But skeptics argue they exaggerated for profit. Yet, police photos from the crime scene show oddities: a shadow in a doorway, a face in a window, unexplained even today. Locals avoided the house, its eye windows watching the street, its boathouse reeking of decay no cleaning could erase. I've read the trial transcripts, seen the crime scene photos, their stark horror undeniable. I tracked down a neighbor's interview, her voice trembling as she recalled Butch's eerie calm that morning. The DeFeo case is real, documented in Suffolk County records, its brutality raw. Was Butch driven by rage, drugs, or something darker? Some say the house itself, built on land tied to ancient rituals, fueled the violence, a theory echoed in Erie's haunted tales. This is the mass murders of Ronald DeFeo Jr., a warning that evil can wear a familiar face. And now, the end, where the horror cuts deep. In 2021, a contractor renovating 112 Ocean Avenue found a hidden crawl space under the basement, its walls scratched with claw marks, a child's shoe, John's size, buried in the dirt, stained red. That night, the house's lights blazed, though the power was cut, and a scream echoed down Ocean Avenue, chilling neighbors who swear they saw 6 shadows in the windows, standing still, watching. Butch died in prison that year, his last words whispered to a guard. They're still there. The house stands, its new owners silent. But at 3 a.m., Amityville's streets grow quiet, and the windows of High Hopes burn red, waiting for the next family to claim. So what's in your home? What's awake at night? Lock your doors, because this nightmare is real, and it's closer than you think.